Okay, now I invite Dr. Somit Kumar, and he's going to talk about the personalized and predictive approaches to longevity in Vedic and Ayurvedic literature.
Thank you. So, a very good evening. I think we are in the Jara Avastha of today. So, Jara, when you say it's the end stage where things fall off. But in fact, the topic is quite apt that we are talking about longevity now because this is an attempt to make our mission live longer. Now, when you talk about longevity, it doesn't mean immortality. So this was very well explained in our Ayurvedic scriptures that you want to live long, but not become immortal, because immortality is not accepted in scriptures, in fact. So that's why, according to different yugas, we talked about what could be your average life expectancy. And so that's why I took up this topic, and I didn't know that it will be the last presentation, but it's very fitting that how can we make our not only life long, but also our mission live longer and healthy. So that's why, in fact, I would like to, start with a very punchline. We say today, healthy at 100. So in Kali Yuga, in fact, we all know Kali Yuga, the average lifespan was calculated in our scriptures was 100 years of good, healthy life. Now, this has come from, in fact, our preceding scholars have also talked about Sharad Ritu. Jivet Sharadam Shatam. That means Shata Sharada. You should live 100 Sharada Ritus. So, in fact, when you see the whole Vedic quest for long life, it was for Purusharthas. Not that I would just live long, but what for? There was an angle of morality behind it, angle of spirituality behind it, and a quest behind it. So not only in Vedic text, like where Atharveda have which says that you should live for 100 Sharad Ritus, but even our Ayurveda text starts, Astanga starts with Ayuhu Kamya Manena Dharmartha Sukha Sadhanam. Why I need longevity? The basic first sloka of Astanga starts with Ayu Kamya, longevity. Veda also talks about longevity. So we are seeing a similar kind of conceptual agreement between the two streams of knowledge. So when we say Veda, it's a knowledge system. It's not a scripture of a religion or anything. It's more secular than anybody would have thought about. So so-called secularism is imposed on us right now. But the whole Vedic tradition was quite knowledge-driven, not religion-driven. Because for us, knowledge or religion was our knowledge system, rather I'll say. So if you are in quest for knowing something new, innovate, think out of box, it was a process of seeking knowledge, and that was our religion in India, in that civilization. And you can see the similar kind of approach, whether you take Jyotisha, whether you take Natya Shastra. I was listening to many scholars from architecture or astronomy. So where you had a very coherent thought process about why we lead long life. And it was very clear, it was for Chatur Vidha Purushartha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So, but Sarira Madhyam Khalu Dar Sadhanam, as we have already talked about it, and it was in where Sakuntala, it was in a Kavya, that Sharira is the instrument through which we attain dharma. Now you need a healthy Sharira to do a dharma, isn't it? You can't have a back pain and you keep on giving somebody charity standing. So you will have aches and pains. So that's not the best way to live healthy. So unless and until you are not in a physical equilibrium, your mind, body, and spiritual experience will not be complete. So if you need to be really healthy in this materialistic world where you have, unfortunately, your consciousness is caged in this human body, you have to take care of your body. So that's why Ayurveda was quite materialist. I say, yes, it is materialistic science. So why? Because it was basically targeted towards making your physical body, healthy and longer enough to attain all your goals of life, which gives you the chance of not having, again, a cycle of birth and death. Why? Because moksha is the one entity which takes you out of this pain. See, for a consciousness or for a soul, for Atma, it is like a drashta. It is just like a prisoner in the physical body and mind. So what we require is emancipation from this cycle of birth and death. And Ayurveda gives you a chance to have such a healthy body and a long, healthy course of your life, which can enable you to achieve that. So that's why Charaka Samhita defines life, or the main aim of Ayurveda as hita hitam sukham dukkham ayus tasya hita hitam. Now, manam cha tatcha yatrokta. Manam he talks about. He talks about measurement. What you should indulge in, what you should not indulge in. In order to attain a balanced life. What is life? It's a combination of physical, psycho-spiritual, and social gratification. See, you can have the best 5-packs or 6-packs or the best body you can have, but if you are not socially connected with people around you, you may be attractive, but nobody gives you any credit for it. Or if you're not able to optimize that relationship, interpersonal relationship, you may be very beautiful. That doesn't mean that you may follow everything, but you will be like an island. So what Ayurveda has talked about is also about all those principles of sadvritta. Not only what healthy you eat to make a 6-packs, but also your psycho-spiritual and social traits which can make you a wholesome personality, a wholesome individual who can have a successful and long life. So Ayurveda basically talks about longevity in a perspective of not just being immortal. As you know, today, whole modern science, we are looking for becoming immortal, isn't it? That if we become immortal, we live throughout, and then we conquer this world. But basic aim of our human urge from an Ayurvedic perspective or Vedic perspective was to get out of this cycle of birth and death, and the real immortality is the immortality of soul. So when you talk about Ayurveda, many a times we just talk about Ayu is called as life, and Veda is knowledge, knowledge of life. No, if you look at the genesis of this word Ayuhu, it's called ingatau, which continues. And this gata dhatu is continuum. So it talks about the continuity of the soul. So you were never born, you will never die, you will continue. But Ayurveda gives you an opportunity to have this physical body and realize this, and then don't get attached to it. So this is a very important concept which is ingrained into where the Vyakarana and the Ayurvedic thought process comes together about why longevity or aging young is important from an Ayurvedic perspective to have a spiritual pursuit in life. In fact, Sushruta was one of the first authors who talked about Ayurveda Jara Vyadhi. You know, geriatrics. We talk about geriatrics today. Sushruta was the first author who has developed this speciality of Jara, Rasayana Chikitsa, Jara Vyadhi, and it's well documented as one of the first eight specialty care. If you see, we were quite objective, you know. none of our Vedic literature just believed in something. They had tarka, vitarka. And they talked about in this that what should be the criteria that we know we are aging healthy. You know, even they have fixed the clinical criteria of healthy aging. So it talks about you are healthy, aging healthy if you have good cognition, you have good memory, brilliant speech till last day or last breath, intellectually sound till last breath. This is one of the major criteria today. See, today, if you look at the whole epidemic of aging, people are dying of Alzheimer's, dementia, speech disorders, Parkinsonism, neurodegenerative disorders. Now, without these, sophisticated machines and new terms in diagnosis has talked about just based on observation. We say darshana. Today we talk about, when we ever talk about, philosophy, we get little perturbed. Is it pseudoscience? But Ayurveda was the first science which was very vehemently and openly accepting that science and spirituality can exist together. Why? Because the basic genesis or evolution, which is in Sankhya, a theory of evolution which Ayurveda believes or takes it in account to understand how human body evolved, it talks about Prakriti Purushayoho Srishti. So there is a component of course, material, primordial matter, but at the same time, it also takes care of Purusha, which is unexplained, which you can call as God, you can call as Atma, you can call as anything. But it's something which is started believing with. So Ayurveda had never conflict with kind of spirituality. I don't know whether Ayurveda is religious or not, but it was totally spiritual. Now, do we define religion and spirituality as same is another question which it doesn't come to my domain, being a doctor or physician or a Vaidya. But Ayurveda was very clear that spirituality and science can exist together. There are a lot of new researches coming out that is age reversible? So people say, no, age cannot be reversible. So they have come to a term. What can be reversed is all these molecular processes, inflammation, age-related chronic diseases. Now, there are chronic diseases. You are not dying. The first, what Charaka says, that age is or aging, jara is a swabhavaja vyadhi. The day you are born, you start dying. Isn't it? How negative you'll feel. But then it is told, swabhavaram uparam vada. The day you are born, your backward clock begins. In a Kali Yuga, this clock is basically set at 100 years. And now it depends upon, if you are 60 years, means you have smoked a lot, you have eaten not the right things, you have not had a good lifestyle. So you would die at 60. But as per the programmed cell death, if you follow the precepts of Ayurveda, you would be healthy at 100. That you can achieve. Now, the modern researchers also talks about the same thing. It's about diet, lifestyle, and your psychosomatic profiling what you do. So what accelerates aging is all these epigenetic phenomena, which is basically you're not sleeping on time. See, Nobel Prize of Medicine in 2017 was given to what Dr. Rama also talked about, circadian rhythm. Before that, calorie restriction. After 2018, intermittent fasting and autophagia. All these are in this slide. See, these are not new things. We all knew that before sunset we should stop eating, isn't it? We were told as a child, but we never follow it because we all get together in the evening with the evening family dinner. We eat the healthiest and heaviest, and we live less. Half of the Western population is overweight. Why? Because they have very good family design. Yes, it's good for social well-being, but you are hitting hard on your physical body. So you can't achieve everything. So Ayurveda, yoga, or Indian health tradition can give you that framework in which you can feel optimally healthy and live longer. So sleep, thirst, aging falls under the category of Swabhavaja Vyadhi. Means it is ingrained into your genetics, genes. It cannot be changed. The only it is you can live healthier provided you follow. Now, both my colleagues have talked about Prakriti. You know, there is a process called as Pumsavana Karma in Ayurveda, where you can program your progeny. According to this, it says that if you are a Kapha Prakriti, you have the longest longevity, less disease, and more or less a better quality of life throughout your lifespan. Now, there is a whole program for it, where the couples get married before conception. There is a program of Pumsavana Karma. Nobody even talks about today. Why? Because it was like a taboo. They never thought that, okay, following certain regimes can alter their gene methylation and epigenetics. Now, with the advent of epigenetics, thanks God, somehow modern biomedicine has come to explain. When they saw the whole genome, they thought that they have conquered. They will become now, immortal. Then finally they realized that, oh God, this is the beginning of the Pandora's box. Or they have just opened a Pandora's box, but they say, oh, epigenomics plays a big role. You eat early, you sleep early, get up in the morning, do yoga. They found that, oh God, their methylation is longer, their telomere is more elongated, so they are living longer than people who are not following this. So with the advent of epigenetics, we are seeing more and more evidence that what has been told in our classical text of Ayurveda or yoga or our other shastras is purely very empirical observations, not by those machines, but there was another method of darshana. Like, the whole framework of, peer reviewing, how to develop a research hypothesis is called as, there is Panchavaya Vakya in our Anumana Pramana. When you talk about darshanas, then in that you have how to do scientific inquiry. In that, one method is Parartha Anumana. So you do 5 levels of stepwise process of proving your hypothesis. So pratigya, hetu, niyagamana. Then after all those things, only you can come to a conclusion. So it is not that all of a sudden somebody went into a meditative mode and then they found out this science. No, they went through this whole rigor. First they got very convinced and then they used the whole thing for, so when you talk about longevity program, it talks about if you want to live longer, you have to have a healthy body. So eat healthy, emotionally you should be stable, psychologically stable. Metabolism, your Agni should be good, and your immunity, Bala Ojas should be good. So all these parameters contribute to longevity. And not only this, this is going to influence where? As we were talking about molecular or parinama, molecular and cellular metabolism, metamorphosis, and then other, even what you eat during pregnancy decides the longevity of your child. Recently, some 10, 12 years, this research was published. But this is told in our texts some 5,000 years or 10,000 years. Now today I'm becoming more jubilant after listening to my previous authors that, okay, oh God, I can even tell is before 5,000 years. So aahara, good lifestyle, not a big theories, panchkarma. These are modalities through which, if you adhere to, you can attain long life. And these 10 herbs are told in our Ayurvedic text. You'll be surprised when I started understanding, see, how do you age? You don't age because of just, it's a phenomena which is molecular, but molecular phenomena expressed at certain tissues, like heart. For heart, you see there are specific herbs which are very specific, sthira, Desmodium giganticum. You'll be, when I was going through the literature at where these researches have been done, none of the researches on this, on cardioprotective activity has done in India, either in Japan or in US preclinical researches. It's not that they are not looking at our text, they are not having the leads. Now, these 10 herbs, in India, if I just go, Amrita is best immunomodulatory. With COVID, thanks to COVID, it brought out the immunomodulatory effect of it. And in India, it was, government of India took as a large-scale campaign for saying it as a good immunomodulator. So it can modulate autoimmunity. Abhaya, Termila cebula, Harade, everybody takes for good digestion and bowel movements. Dhatri, Amalaki, we all know it's a very good antioxidant, anti-aging. Mukta, pearl, is another very important herb for mineral, herbo-mineral product for anti-aging. Then you have Shankapushpi, which is very good for cognition, Alzheimer's. Lot of studies have been done on this. Atirasa, asparagus, a boon for women healthcare. You know, Satavari has been very good for hormonal profile, both for male and female. Then Manduk Parni, again for higher cognitive function. Sthira, I told you, for heart. Punarnava, for kidney. Now, when you look at the combination itself, which is Dashemani, Charaka has told these 10 herbs are anti-aging, it is not targeted to only one pathway. Dr. Rama was talking about network pharmacology. This is one of the best examples that it attacks all the pathways which initiates the process of aging, it attacks. So the last slide, I want to say what Ayurveda can offer. As my colleague Dr. Sindhu talked about, today we are all talking about P4 medicine, personalized, preventive, predictive, and participatory medicine. It's becoming a big, talk of the town among so-called very good, high-level scientific research communities. We, in Ayurvedic text, has already talked about it. So it's just that how can we kind of align our resources? We can work towards, very targeted towards multidisciplinary team working together, and we can give, I know today just talking will not work, so we need to do a collaborative, integrative researches and prove empirically also what has been told in our Shastras to work on ground. So I would like to really thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity and our institution an opportunity to share some views on Ayurveda, its lineage from Vedic scriptures, and how we align the very aim of Ayurveda is to give you a long life for a successful spiritual journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everybody who's here, and we'll conclude the day here. And we will meet at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you for your patience, Bharat.